portion. So we have these pH meters here, and it's going to give us hopefully a more accurate measurement. We have up to 3 decimal points of precision according to this instrument. So the way it sort of works, you have 2 electrodes, and if you're just to get a little bit more complex, they have certain potentials going through it, and you're measuring the difference between the potential. And it's going to tell you the pH of it, you know, to get really broadly into it. But it's able to measure our pHs. First thing we had to do is standardize. We had to calibrate. We have 3 different calibration solutions, one at pH 10, one at pH 7, and one at pH 4. So first thing again you want to do is calibrate. But first things first, whenever you get your electrode, you want to rinse it off. You want to make sure you're cleaning it very properly every single time. You want to get off as much as you can. Any white debris or whatever it might be, you want to get at every angle, and you want to clean it up properly. So we already have it in calibration mode, so we're going to start the calibration. First thing it wants, number 4. So I got it pretty clean. So now I have my 4 solution. And all it is, just going to set it in. We're going to gently bring it down into the solution. You want to make sure it's completely submerged. You don't want it touching the bottom, and you want it in there as much as possible. Just a little bit. You might have to play around with it a little bit. Might be better to do it around closer to here. So, you know, it's giving me a pH stabilizing. It's initially reading 4.2, but it's going to take some time to stabilize. I got it in there as much as I can. I might do a little bit more before it touches the ground. So, we're reading at 4.2. We got to let it stabilize. Saying stabilizing, so we want to give it a second. And 4.01. So it's going to calibrate. You know, these solutions might be made a little bit slightly more acidic or slightly more basic. It might be slightly off. But this calibration is going to sort of give us, it's going to calibrate for us, and it's going to adjust those pH values according to our solution. So still stabilizing, you know, 4.198. It might stay there. We're not expecting something too different. So it's gonna, we're hoping it goes down. Then it's reading stable again. So, all right. Report. Should we just report it?
Yes.
All right. Establish standardization report. Okay. So good. Escape. All right. So now we want to go up to our next standard. So first thing first. As soon as we're done, we sort of just want to take it out and clean it. We don't want to keep it in there as much. These electrodes, you know, we want to preserve them as much as we can. You know, there's a certain amount of usage in each of them. They have a certain lifetime. And the more you keep them clean, the less you're using them, the more lifetime they have. So, again, a very thorough cleaning. And make sure you get all the solution off. Otherwise, it's going to make your calibration settings a little bit off. Alright, so I think that looks about clean. You got a collection plate. You want to use DI water, deionized water, just to make sure you're not throwing out the pH as well. So, alright, so we're done with that. We can move on to our next one. And we'll see if it automatically goes to the 7.0. And if I have to change it, but let's find out as soon as we dip it in here. Okay. Again, same thing. You want to make sure it's submerged in there, and you might want to make sure it's not touching the bottom. See, that looks good. So we're getting a pH about 6.8. So it's stabilizing. We still got to give it some time. It might go higher, lower, but we are calibrating. And we are waiting. You know, these don't take super long, luckily. But this is something that must be done every time, otherwise your pH measurements aren't going to be reliable. So you have to do that. Have to make sure. So I gotta give it a minute. You guys, again, thinking about what's going on here, it's measuring, you have a semi-permeable membrane that allows the hydronium ions, the H3O+, to permeate through. So we got a stable value of 6.842. I don't see it changing any, so we're gonna go ahead and report that. So I'm gonna click report. All right. So it measures the offset, so it knows. So it should be able to accurately measure it for next time. So, all right, so that's good. Oops, okay. All right, so you know, same thing. We're gonna take our electrode out. And we're gonna rinse it off. Done with the 7. Same old deal. Rinse it off completely. Get it very clean. You don't want it to react with anything you're using. You know, a base and an acid can interact in a certain way to offset your pH. So hopefully you guys are thinking about how to convert from pH to H3O+. You're gonna have to do it in this experiment. We're not gonna do it for you. You should know from the lectures how to do that conversion. And make sure you're really good at it. You should be able to convert from pH to H3O+ concentration and H3O+ concentration to pH. It's a pretty simple formula. It's rearranged, so it's all the same thing. You know, you're measuring. It's all a form of measurement. All right, so I got that clean. Now we're on to our final calibration solution, pH 10. So, is that pH 10? Yeah, okay. That's a little weird. Same old deal, you want to submerge it as much as you can. I'm a little bit difficult with this one. That looks good. There you go, perfect. All right, so perfect. So it's going to be stabilizing. We got a 9.6, 6.7. So we're just going to give it some time. Gonna wait till it stabilizes and give it some more time. So we're at 9.7, it's still stabilizing. You know, it's good we did these calibrations because these calibrations would have given us 0.3 pH units off, you know. So it's good that we did this. We're stabilizing, still stabilizing, so gonna give it a second. All right. Well, it's still stabilizing, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna stay at 9.715, somewhere around there. It's not gonna veer too far off. It's still going up a little bit, which is good. But now it's saying it's stable, and I trust that. You know, we gave it a little bit of time, so we're gonna go ahead and remove it. We're gonna report this. Still going up actually a little bit, but you know, generally it's not going to go too far off. So you know, once we get a pretty stable report, we're going to stick with it. I'm going to go ahead and report that. All right, measured the offset, so that's good. And same thing we've been doing. You want to clean.